It's an embarrassing state of affairs, really, isn't it? Both the Labour and the Tory parties are in a mess. Let's take a look at the Labour Party. They've had opportunity after opportunity to seize on the failures and indiscretions of the Conservatives, but they continue to repeatedly make a real hash of things. After Keir's comments on women, many feminists turned their back on the party, preferring to vote Tory because, frankly, they were not happy with his stance. He couldn't say whether women have a penis or not. So, Keir, I've looked. I am one. I can tell you they don't. And he wasn't alone in his confusion. Other female members of his party weren't prepared to do so either. In the same breath, MPs like Rosie Duffield were in fear of their own safety due to comments like, women have a cervix. She was deemed a transphobe. Absolutely ridiculous. An article in the Daily Mail today, leaked by an anonymous Tory MP, suggested that Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Angela Rayner, has resorted to crossing her legs basic instinct style to keep Boris off guard so that she can distract him during Prime Minister's questions. A claim which she has denied and one which has been described as ludicrous, sexist and misogynistic. I mean, how does that even make the news? As a side, to make it look like the Labour Party are actually remotely interested in the politics of this country, they'd rather focus on the circus of Partygate, which they have repeatedly talked about, and other nonsensical so-called scandals where there was Wallpapergate and Animalgate, where Boris supposedly helped a man and his animals escape a war. The Labour Party are now demanding an emergency budget due to the cost of living crisis, some weeks after Rishi Sunak announced his lacklustre spring statement. And if it wasn't for the fact that the Labour Party have literally ostracised 50% of the population with their narrative on women, and it's a difficult one to get past, we'd probably wholeheartedly jump behind their notion of an emergency budget. But sadly, their solution lacks any real detail. And to be honest, it's weeks late. I mean, they were too obsessed with Partygate. Even in the upcoming local elections, I can't see them doing that well there. I suspect some will use it as a protest vote against the Tory party, but others will see it as the exact opposite and deliberately vote Tory to stop them even getting a sniff of power. And even as the Tory party, who appear to want to eat themselves from the inside out, doing a hatchet job on their own leader who gave them the biggest majority that they've ever had, it all started with Dominic Cummings. Now Rishi Sunak, as Boris's most likely successor, is conveniently out of the way. His tax affairs mysteriously leaked, leaving a bad taste in the mouths of the British public, who have had to swallow a diet of tax hikes in a way of paying for their woeful mismanagement during the pandemic, which didn't sit well. Even as this is happening, I can't see the Labour Party leading this country. They don't appear to be able to read the room. Many polls suggest that the British public are sick of talking about Partygate. Keir Starmer going on and on and on. We want the government to focus on the crisis facing the average person in the UK. I'm sure many would like to give them a try. But what do they stand for? And what would it take to make you vote for Labour?